ACT, we travel a lot of different tracks and a lot of different size tracks, so, you know, we come prepared for different setups, and we're new at it, a new contender on the circuit and that. It takes a lot of learning, I'll tell you that. You don't just come and go out and be fast.
That's my home track, and especially it's very important for my fans and for my sponsor. And another thing, I like very much that track, and I like the speed here. It's very important for us.
It's got to be my fans. I have fans on the Canadian side of the border that I just love, and on the United States side of the border, I've gained so many in the 37 years that I've been racing that that's what motivates me, and it's hard for me to quit.
The American Canadian Tour and the GM National Stock Car Series, a showcase of the best short track stock car warriors in Canada and the U.S. The battles are at close quarters, and the war wounds can be startling. But let's give them a little elbow room. From the 3rd and quarter-mile bull rings to the sweeping turns and long straightaways of Sanair Superspeedway, close to a mile in length, the struggle for handling an opportunity now becomes a fight for speed and horsepower. From Sanair Superspeedway, Saint-Pie, Quebec, it's the Summer of Thunder Tour 92. Hi again, everybody. I'm Eric Thomas, along with Dave Moody, and welcome to the GM Parts 200 at Sanair Superspeedway. Dave, that pretty well says it all. A superspeedway, it's big and it's awfully quick.
Incredibly quick, but at the same time, the corners are straight off your local short track. Any first-time driver here that gets excited about the speed and forgets to lift at the proper time is going to be in a world of trouble when they get to the turns.
Veterans of the American Canadian Tour have done very well here. Junior Hanley, defending points champion, has won here 5 times over his career. Beaver Dragon has taken this place 4 times. The veterans are very tough to catch, Dave.
They are, but on the other side of the coin, there's a group of youngsters that are ready to break through. Randy McDonald, former GM Series champion, has never won here at Sanair, and a couple of youngsters, Derek Lynch, Kim Wallace, looking for their first ever career victories on the GM Series. They'd love to do it here today on the big track.
For more, let's go trackside, and John Massingbird.
As so often has been the story this summer, it's a story of rain and bad weather. Let's go to the front row and talk to Rolly McDonald. Rolly, earlier today we talked, you said the car feels really good.
Yeah, the car feels super at this track. This is one of my favorite tracks, and it's hooked up good today.
Rolly, there is still a lot of rain clouds up in the area. 101 constitutes a race today in the GM Parts 200. Is it going to be a dash for the cash in those first 100?
I would say it'll be flat-out racing for the first 100 today. I don't think any of the leaders will come in before 100 laps the way the weather is.
Well, Rolly McDonald out of Pictou, Nova Scotia has got plenty of experience. Let's go to the inside in the front row is Randy McDonald in the GM Parts Pro Shop Chevrolet. Randy has been talking about a little bit of a concern with the car. Randy, any concerns as you start the GM Parts 200?
Well, we got the right starting position, that's for sure, but we've been kind of playing catch-up. We haven't run this car since Motorsport, and we've been on the road for 2-3 weeks now, it seems like, so we haven't been home. So we just have to wait and see what happens, and the weather's also a factor.
Rolly McDonald said it's going to be a dash for the cash in that first 101 because of the rain or potential rain. Same thing, Randy, go out there and pull the trigger and go?
Well, unfortunately, we got to start with sticker tires, so that usually isn't too good a thing for the first 3 laps, so we'll have to take it easy right there, and let's hope we can go 100 laps, because that's a question right now.
When we return on Raceline, it'll be McDonald and McDonald on the front row.
The GM National Stock Car Series is brought to you by GM Parts, the expert choice. Kodak Gold Plus Film. You can't keep the moment without Kodak. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's cars. Revell, the world's model maker. And by Budweiser Racing. It's a Bud race.
For the GM Parts 200, they line up this way. Points critical for Randy McDonald to catch Junior Hanley in GM points. He was our winner at Halifax.
On the outside, another McDonald, Rolly McDonald, the former maritime champion from Pictou, Nova Scotia.
20-year-old Robbie Thompson from Owen Sound, the youngest driver on the tour. Great qualifying lately. Here he is inside of row 2.
And alongside young Robbie Thompson, one of the Tour veterans, Roger Leperle of St. Denis, Quebec, in the St. Pierre Auction 00.
Well, Junior's going for 3 in a row at Sanair. It'll be his 9th ACT win, his 7th GM win if he can pull it off.
And on the outside of row 3, Kevin LePage of Shelburne, Vermont, another 4, the Dona Flamand Allen Lumber Company Thunderbird.
Balance of your field in row 4, the 75 Beaver Dragon, a 4-time winner here at Sanair.
Row number 6, Dan Beatty of Barrie, Vermont, looking for his 2nd American-Canadian Tour win. And on the inside of row 8, looked very strong in qualifying, Kim Wallace of the 27.
Claude Leclerc in row 9 has 1 career win here at Sanair. 58-year-old Jean-Paul Cabana in row number 11.
One of the cult heroes here in the province of Quebec. If Cabana can win here today on his home racetrack, there will be an absolute riot among the Canadian race fans.
A very strong Quebec contingent too, Dave.
Indeed, always here at the Sanair Super Speedway. A number of drivers, including Jocelyn Blanchard, who will start at the tail end of this field, making his first ever ACT start.
38-point lead for Junior Hanley over Randy McDonald. This is event number 10 on the GM National Stock Car Series. Squeaky tight, Dave.
At the front of the pack, it's going to be razor close all season long. And this race, Eric, may well just go a long way toward deciding it, because Junior Hanley in recent years has dominated this speedway. But in the past, Randy McDonald, Rolling McDonald, Beaver Dragon have all had good runs. We'll see how it ends up at the end of the day. McDonald and McDonald. Any more, we'd have to buy French fries as they come down for green.
McDonald and McDonald across the stripe, and the GM Parts 200 is underway. Sanair Super Speedway, a tri-oval, or a dog leg as some of the drivers call it, on the backstretch, Dave. Not quite a mile, 0.8 of a mile actually.
But very, very high speed, especially right here. Through the tri-oval, they flat-foot it through that corner, hurtle down into turn 3, and then stand these cars right on their nose, make a hard left-hander, and head for the front straightaway. Lap number 1 goes in the book, and surprise, it's Rolly McDonald on the outside, the 13, taking the lead.
Well, I was kind of wondering if Rolly was strong enough to run out there all day long when he drops it down to the lower groove. Now back with Junior Hanley. He's looking for his 6th career win at this speedway. The car certainly is slippery aerodynamically, and that Ron Hunter motor loves that top end of the power band of the RPM. What kind of speeds, Dave? What, 120, 25, somewhere in there maybe?
Probably 140 miles an hour at the end of the front straightaway. Through the tri-oval, 120 or 130. If you get in trouble through the tri-oval, it's hang on Irene, because bad things happen and you crash for a long time.
Yes, the walls are very hard here at Sanair, but look at the job that Rolly McDonald, the MassCard champion, is doing out here, starting to stretch that lead a little bit away from Randy McDonald back in the 01.
A couple of years ago, Rolly McDonald had an ACT race won here at the Sanair Super Speedway, ran out of gas with just 2 laps remaining. That has always burned in the back of his mind. He wants one here very, very badly. This track is not for the faint-hearted. You don't have to worry about Rolly McDonald. That big right foot has no trouble finding the floorboard.
And this is a bad break for Derek Lynch out of Norwood, Ontario. I really thought this young man might do rather well here, but the car obviously out of power, rolling very slowly down a pit lane. John Massingford is down there. We'll go to him in a second.
It looks like the fire's gone out on the OnSat Motorsport Buick, the latest in a series of frustrations here on the Sanair Super Speedway for young Derek Lynch.
Meanwhile, up front is still Rolly McDonald in car number 13, and the 01 of Randy McDonald in behind. Now Lynch rolling along the line here. You're right, Dave. Obviously out of power, comes in slowly there. His dad, Dave Lynch, the crew chief, looking inside for a signal.
And you can see a decided lack of intensity on the crew right now. That usually is not a good sign. The hood will come off that Buick Regal. They'll take a perfunctory look underneath the hood, but it does not look good for Derek Lynch. He's already gone down 1, and on a track of this size, it's tough to recover.
Rolly McDonald starting to really stretch that lead out over Randy McDonald, the law firm McDonald and McDonald continuing to battle up front here, while the work continues on the Lynch number 15. Really stretching it out here, Dave.
This track has been feast or famine for Rolly. He's had some great finishes and some vicious crashes. Let's go down to the pits to John Massingford.
Derek, a tough break this afternoon. It's too early to be out of this thing.
Yeah, the car was going good. I mean, we were picking some spots off early on. We just down in the turn, the motor let go. Nothing we can do. We're all done.
Tough break for young Derek Lynch. He's out of this race early this afternoon.
Very, very frustrating to go down with mechanical problems this early in the event. And Kevin LePage has got some mechanical problems under the hood of his own.
2 potential winners falling by the wayside already. LePage and the Dona Flamand Ford in the pits. He now is going laps down because the leaders continue to set the pace. Rolly McDonald in the 13, Randy McDonald in the 01. Freight training it out of turn number 3.
Here's a battle way back in the pack. Robbie Crouch in the 48, Jim Wiersma in the 3, and Bill Zardo Sr. in the 46. Yes, that is Robbie Crouch's 48, a brand new car, Dave, but he banged it up in the semi. He's out here, but they haven't even had time to paint the car the proper black and blue color scheme.
First time out of the box, trying to find something to change his luck here on the Sanair Mile. Robbie Crouch, though, has had some problems. Took it out, had a good run in qualifying, then got tangled up in a multi-car confrontation in the semi-feature. He's just trying to fight his way out of the back right now. He's hooked up with a pretty good drafting partner, Claude Leclerc. The two of them both former feature winners here at Sanair.
Claude Leclerc has won here once. Robbie Crouch, a two-time winner here at Sanair Super Speedway. And you're right, they're drafting together, but they've got a lot of ground to make up to catch Rollie McDonald and Randy McDonald. And now the yellow to slow it down. And Jim Wiersma, who we looked at before, involved here with Donald Forte in the 42.
Wiersma, who had been running with Crouch and Zardo in that pack, apparently getting tangled up with the slower car of young Don Forte. Forte in only his second year of stock car racing, doing a pretty good job here on the American Canadian Tour, but he's torn up that Chevrolet.
Got some time here with the yellow flag. No doubt some activity on pit road to come up with the Forte crew and other people. A little bit earlier today, we had another elimination round of the GM Parts National Pit Stop Competition. Pit stops play such an important role at Sanair, don't they?
They certainly do. Races many, many times have been won and lost here at Sanair based on what happens on pit road. This elimination round, part of the points earning process to try and qualify the top teams for the finals later on this year at Motorsport. This is the Bill Zardo team going through their right side tire change, tank of gas and a clean windshield. The Junior Hanley team also had a good stop, but once again the winners in this particular round of the GM Parts National Pit Stop Competition, the Glenwright Motorsports Rent-A-Wreck team from Tampa, Florida and Georgia, Vermont, the two-time defending champion for Robbie Crouch.
Robbie Crouch, people are very quick, so is Junior Hanley's crew here. They use the GM Parts show car, the same car, different driver obviously, and just change the tires on the one side. Up they go.
This is not the GM Parts show car. This is Don Forte down to John Massingberg.
Don Forte not happy with the way this car is handling. You can see the crew working on the lower and upper control arms on the right-hand side. They're going to put the gauge underneath the car to check the toe in. Obviously, Don not happy with the way it's going so far.
Got a lot of work to do on that Isilon Forte Racing Chevrolet. Let's look at the leaderboard so far. The GM Parts 200, Rollie and Randy McDonald 1-2. The Junior Hanley, Roger LaPerle and Beaver Dragon.
And you'll notice a lot of veterans in that top five. This is a track that historically over the years has been dominated by the veterans. This is not a place where the youngsters come in and impress immediately because it's a very tough racetrack. Green flag is out, and on the restart again, the outside line appears to get the faster jump. Randy McDonald in the 0-1, but back comes Rollie on the inside, the Maritime Tires Chevrolet. Rollie McDonald back to the point.
And look who is coming up to make it a power trio. Junior Hanley in car number 72. Rollie McDonald up front. He has led this thing right from the start. Randy McDonald in the 0-1, tight now for second. Rollie was stretching that out earlier, Dave, but now Randy's trying to keep up there and not let him get too far away, and Junior's right in there as well.
The pace here in the early going, perhaps surprisingly fast. 200 laps here at Sanair is a long, long way, but Rollie McDonald, Randy McDonald, and now Hanley really legging it out as Robbie Thompson and John Paul Cabana get together through the trial.
That is the other Isilon Forte racing machine driven by 58-year-old Jean Paul Cabana. The guy who's got 38 years experience, goes back to that veteran thing you were talking about, Dave.
Looking for his 500th career victory on the American Canadian Tour here today at the Sanair Super Speedway. Started well back in the pack, but Cabana making some pretty good progress through the field here in the early lap.
Watching Rollie McDonald really dialed in well here, Dave. But look what Randy McDonald has found, whether he's got the car coming toward him or not. He's able to stay up with Rollie. He wasn't able to do that earlier on in the race.
Randy McDonald has got a very well set up race car as he runs right on the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Jean Paul Cabana, the ageless wonder from Sherrington, Quebec, the 5A, like Randy McDonald, running right on the bottom. And like Randy McDonald, he's headed for the front.
Noticing it is a gray day out here, and John Massingberg mentioned this off the head of the show. These guys are letting it all hang out early in the race, just in case the skies open up at the halfway mark. They want to be there. No time to hold back, Dave. It's almost like a race cut in half. They've got to go for broke really early in the event.
Well, this is a 200-lap race, and if the rains come any time after lap 101, whoever's leading will be declared the winner if the race cannot be continued. So as a result, you see people like John Paul Cabana, like Robbie Crouch, like Claude Leclerc that ordinarily don't make their charges in the first few laps of a race, having to fight their way to the front just in case Mother Nature gets in on the act.
Rolly McDonald from Pictou, Nova Scotia continues to lead it out here. Randy McDonald hanging in there with him too, Dave.
One car running slowly out through the tri-oval. It's the Jim Wiersma automobile. He'll limp it down onto pit road. For the second time, Wiersma in car number 3 in some difficulty. It looks like this time some mechanical problems under the hood of car number 3.
Yeah, he limped in slowly, much like Derek Lynch, so obviously something mechanical as the safety vehicle comes out here.
Checking the Speedway for any fluid, motor oil, transmission fluid, anything that might be down on the track. And once again, a pretty resigned attitude by the Tubby's Truck and Trailer Sales car number 3 team.
Let's go to John.
Well, Kevin LePage back on pit road again. They're prepared to change a spark plug. They've got a can of WD-40 in case they have to dry out under the distributor cap. And there's also a continuity tester that they're going to use to test possibly a down spark plug wire. And of course, LePage has got the strength to come back if he gets back in this battle, but he's got to have a motor that can get him here.
We're coming back from Sanair on Raceline after this. Welcome back to Sanair Speedway, the GM Parts 200. Eric Thomas, Dave Moody, and John Massingbird on a threatening kind of a day, but what a great show being put on here by Rolly McDonald, Dave.
So far, so good as far as the weather is concerned, and so far, so good for big Rolly McDonald as he has led every step of the way. They come down for the restart. Let's take the look out the back bumper. Young Robbie Thompson in car number 25, right alongside him. What? Look out! There goes Robbie Thompson. Howie Scannell slamming the wall. Claude Leclerc is into it. A multi-car pileup in turn number 1, and man, oh man, you saw it right out the back door. There's Robbie Crouch involved. Bill Zardo badly damaged in the 46. A wild melee in turn number 1.
First serious incident of the afternoon. Claude Leclerc out of nearby Repentigny is underway. Now look at the damage on Zardo Sr. here at Brampton. He really is having a lot of trouble steering what is left of his Thunderbird in car 46.
Hard to believe he's even going to try and get it back on pit road. Some serious damage in the nose, most particularly the right front corner. Looks like the Z-Man's going to give up the ghost. He's going to park it down on the inside, let the record crews come out and get him back onto pit road without doing any more damage. There's Robbie Thompson, the 25 car, who really got the best look of all. He took one from behind from Howie Scannell. Rookie driver Howie Scannell, first time ever here on the Sanair Mile.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, there's no such thing as a small mistake in traffic here. No simple spin-outs. If you get messed up in turn 1, you're looking at the results.
Yep, there's a look at Zardo Sr. surveying the damage here in the 46. You're right. At these speeds, a small rookie-type error is really going to result in a lot of mayhem, and I think that's exactly what happened out here.
There were at least a dozen cars involved in that skirmish in one degree or another. Obviously, Bill Zardo is going to be done for the day. Robbie Thompson's car going up on the hook. He's going to be finished for the day. So let's get another look at it. This now is taking out the front window of the Claude Leclerc automobile. Keep an eye on that orange car right in front. That's Howie Scannell. Bumps Robbie Thompson and hang on. Claude Leclerc bounces off Thompson, bounces off the wall. There's Thompson again. Claude Leclerc very fortunate to have driven away himself.
Camera passes the test again, keeps right on running. Out the back end now of the 27 of Kim Wallace, and around goes Robbie Thompson, punted from behind by the Scannell 76. Ooh. Let's go back up to the front and check in with the second place automobile, the 01 of Randy McDonald. Randy, Eric Thomas, Raceline, do you read?
Yeah.
A nice little duel going here with Rolly up front. He seems to be able to get the jump on you just a little on these restarts.
Yeah, he's handling really well, and he's going through the tri-oval good. He goes in strong. I can come out a little better, but just don't have enough for him quite yet.
Dealing with a slick track and kind of a greasy, dirty kind of a track, aren't we, Randy?
Yeah, plus, I mean, the race isn't just with Rolly, so we got to be careful not to do anything stupid.
Thank you, Randy.
Well, that about sums it up, especially in the aftermath of an incident like the one we just saw in turn 1. That'll put everybody back on the cautious side for a few laps, and you can see pit road literally littered with race cars, most of them involved in that incident. The 1X of Brad Layton, he's having problems. He was also involved in that little shunt, took it immediately to the garage area. He's got some motor problems now, may have knocked something loose under the hood.
Just making sure, too, the safety vehicle staying out there. There's Robbie Thompson's 25. Boy, he really got kicked around there quite badly.
That's a tough break for the youngster from Owen Sound, Ontario. Had a good, solid start here this afternoon. Was running strongly among the top 5.
Let's take a look at the top 5 of the GM Parts 200. Rolly and Randy McDonald still 1-2. Junior Hanley running in 3rd place. Rosie LaPearl and Beaver Dragon. Things in the order, Dave, really haven't changed a whole heck of a lot. Time now for Performance Racing News. Trivia, brought to you by Performance Racing News, North America's Motorsport Authority. Ask you the question now, pick up the answer a little later. Sanair has played host to events ranging from Indy cars to stock cars. Who won the first stock car race here? Jean-Paul Cabana, Beaver Dragon, or C, Ken Schrader? And while you're thinking about that, here's John Massingbird in the Castrol Tech Line.
As in any big-time form of stock car racing, preparation's the name of the game. In the McDonald pit area, having spare parts in case of a crash is all important. On this side of the board, we've got trailing arms, a Hoffman leak, a Panhard bar, Hoffman bracket, and a coil-over shock absorber for the back end. A complete set of parts also for the front side of the car, upper and lower control arms, of course, a coil-over shock and strut, and all of the rods that you need to control the front end. Preparation is the name of the game here in ACT. McDonald is prepared today.
A few of those parts put into good use after that mammoth crash we just had here, Dave.
A few of those boards now have been robbed of their A-frames and strut rods as we get set for the restart. Again, it's Rollie McDonald inside, Randy McDonald outside. This time, Randy not able to make much of a run. Well, maybe he is as he comes flying back up on the outside. And again, Eric, it appears that on the front chute, the high groove is the way to go.
It sure seems that way. Now, the NASCAR champion that Rollie McDonald is, I have not had a chance to see this guy run a lot. But my oh my, now Junior Hanley gets by, and he takes over second place from Randy McDonald. So all of a sudden, Junior has found something here.
Junior Hanley loves to run the inside lane here at Sanair. His car runs very, very well on the bottom of the racetrack. He's got horsepower to spare. If he gets underneath you, it's all over.
Great relations between these drivers. We've always mentioned that on the American Canadian Tour. Rollie McDonald bought his automobile from Junior Hanley, and now the guy who sold it to him breathing down his neck here for the lead.
Rollie McDonald over the years has been one of Junior Hanley's best customers. Buys a lot of his cars from Junior, continues to do so, but don't let that fool you. If it comes down to mano a mano for the checkered flag, Rollie McDonald can find somewhere else to buy his race cars if he has to.
Rollie McDonald, car 13, continue to be impressive as they come by the wall camera here. Speeds on the front straightaway, as Dave Moody mentioned, about 130, 140 miles an hour here at the Tri-Oval. Kim Wallace started back in row 7 and row 8. He's trying to pick his way up through traffic, as is the 7 of Andre Beaudoin.
Andre Beaudoin moving around car number 17 of Dave Eisen. Beaudoin driving the car that 1 year ago and for a number of years before that was driven by Jean-Paul Cabana. Cabana left the PP Electric ride during the off-season to take a seat limited time on the Don Forte racing stable. Andre Beaudoin really with the first quality ride of his young career, and he's making the most of it. He's having a good, strong showing here this afternoon.
Dave Eisen, the Big B Drugstore's Budweiser machine, the driver out of London, Ontario. His family's been a big name in late model short track racing around Southern Ontario for a long, long time.
Andre Beaudoin down to the inside of Kim Wallace, and the American Canadian Tour's top rookie. Wallace loses a spot in turn number 3. Andre Beaudoin looking very, very good, but we've got a car down on the inside line. That's the 80 of Donald Teej. The window net is down, and it looks like he may have coughed up a motor on that Chevrolet.
So we're going to have to bring out the yellow and slow the field down again here at the GM Parts 200 at Sanair Super Speedway. There's Randy McDonald on the outside. His car seems to sort of go into handling, then come out of handling as well. Kind of an erratic machine here this afternoon.
Well, this is a tough racetrack to get a handle on right now because it is definitely wet. It rained here through much of the morning. These teams did not get the kind of practice that they're accustomed to, and as a result, you see a lot of folks coming onto pit road, including Junior Hanley, who has brought car number 72 down onto pit road, and right down there in the vicinity, John Massingbird to give us an update from the Hanley pits.
Lloyd Heath and the Q crew all ready for Junior Hanley. Is going to be right side tires, going to fill him up with gasoline. Now this far into the race, this should put Hanley in a position, if need be, to go to the distance to 200.
The drivers, Dave mentioning earlier, concerned about the weather at the halfway mark. Obviously the Hanley people figure it's going to go all the way. Now, let's see what the strategy brings in the pits for Randy McDonald in the 01 of the Oshawa. He's been challenging Rollie McDonald right from the get-go here.
It's going to be a little bit of quick stop service for Randy McDonald as Wayne Goodette and the crew go over the wall. Standard change for these guys, just going to be right-hand side tires, going to pump it full of fuel. McDonald will be ready to go back out in the battle again. He's right now the number 2 man.
Well, this crew just making sure, Dave, they've got to start at the back, making sure all the fuel's in, all the tires, the right ones they wanted, are on, all the nuts are in place down off the jack. Very easy, but very, very focused pit stop here.
Well, Randy McDonald may have stalled the car. They get him started immediately and down off the jacks and off pit road. A rather leisurely pit stop, as you mentioned, for the McDonald team. No need to hurry. He's going to the back anyway. Better to do the job right than do it quickly. We're set for the restart now. It'll be Rolly McDonald in the 13. Then on the outside, the lapped car, 58, Mark Beaudoin. Down on the inside, the new second-place runner, Ralph Nason, in the 10.
Ralph Nason out of Unity, Maine, but look at the restart, and that car of Rolly McDonald has been impressive right from the throw of the green, and he just got another jackrabbit start off the restart. Here's a great view out of the 1X of Brad Layton out of Center Harbor, New Hampshire. Let's ride with him here for a few minutes and listen to what he hears and feel what he feels.
Boy, I'd pay $1 for that ride anytime. Down the front straightaway at the Sanair Super Speedway, right in front. Oh, we've got a problem. Roger Leperle, the 00, who had been running in the number 3 position, has spun the St. Pierre auction machine down to the inside of the corner.
He has had 16 starts here at Sanair with a career best 3rd, and that's a tough break for Roger. A lot of fans here obviously came to see him run from nearby Saint-Denis, so that's going to bring out the yellow here once again. But I am really impressed by the 13 of Rolly McDonald.
Well, so far, he has not had much in the way of a challenge, especially since Hanley and McDonald took the opportunity to pin under the last caution flag. Rolly McDonald able to run pretty much by himself.
Let me ask you this, with the MassCar champion, obviously the tracks he's used to running on are much smaller bull ring sizes, Dave. What kind of adjustments would he have to go through? I mean, you got to set up the car differently and different horsepower, etc., different gearing in the rear end. What kind of adjustments does he make to go to a track of this size?
Well, for Rolly McDonald in particular, not much of an adjustment at all as he brings it down onto pit road. Rolly McDonald loves the big tracks. He is a high-speed racer, one of those guys that says the faster we go, the better I like it. Rolly McDonald, one of the few drivers who was completely at home here the first time he ever turned a lap.
As you mentioned, had a win here in his hip pocket, only to have the engine gulp air instead of fuel. We're back with the GM Parts 200 from Sanair after this. Welcome back to Raceline, the GM Parts 200 from Sanair Super Speedway, Saint-Pierre, Quebec. Eric Thomas, Dave Moody, and John Massingbird, and Ralph Nason, car number 10, in the shuffle after the yellow with Junior Hanley right beside him, Dave.
Ralph Nason, one of the few front runners now that have not taken an opportunity to come on to pit road. He leads by default, so to speak, but he's going to have to earn it right now as Junior Hanley, with fresh right side tires and a full tank of gas, is ready to go on the attack. Green is out, and they drag race down the front chute into turn number 1. It's all Junior Hanley. 3 car lengths lead before they get to the corner.
Oh, look at him going. Look at Jean-Paul Cabana there running in 3rd place in the other Isilon car, car number 5A. But look at the start that Junior got. He just left Ralph Nason standing there.
Junior Hanley just walking away right now. Nason on older tires, unable to keep pace. That's the lap car of Don Forte, not the Cabana automobile. Cabana's a bit further back in the pack. Easy mistake to make. They're identically painted with the exception of the number. Once again, here's the view out of the Kim Wallace car. Last time we checked in, he was in the middle of a crash in turn 1. This time around, following the 33 of Matt Bostowski. And there's Randy McDonald just peeking in down low on the inside.
We watched his pit stop with a lot of interest, Dave, earlier on. He's got the right tires, and the car maybe a slight adjustment there, but he's hanging in.
Obviously, Randy McDonald has got a good handling race car once again as he runs right down on the bottom of the racetrack, beginning to pull away from Kim Wallace as they run past the Sanair grandstand.
My, look at Junior. I mean, what has he done? He's only won here 5 times. Just take that book, just dial it in, and away you go.
Well, Junior Hanley probably spends more time between races at the shop, lying on a creeper underneath his race car, than most short track racers in the world. He spends a lot of time, hands-on work for Junior Hanley, and the results show as he is out in front right now.
Checking the standings, running the top 10 at the halfway mark, and they're all trying to catch Junior Hanley once again.
Hanley in the 72, right behind him the 13 of Rolly McDonald. Rolly has reeled him in once again. Did not take him a whole lot of time to close the gap either. McDonald has got a very stout race car.
Very stout race car, too, with Rowley and Junior Hanley battling up front. Now trying to get up to the back end of the pack here. They're going to have to weave around some of these slower automobiles.
And here's where it gets very interesting, because on a track of this size, you can see there's a big discrepancy between the leaders and the back markers in terms of miles per hour. Junior Hanley probably doing 5 or 6 miles an hour more than the 88 of Steve Knowlton as they race the trioval.
Junior Hanley from Campbellville, Ontario, leader in both ACT and GM National Stock Car Series points, and the defending champion in both of those categories. Out here looking to make it a 6th career total with wins at Sanair.
But right now, Eric, to my eye at the very least, he may not have the best race car of the two.
You may be right.
McDonald right down on the bottom of the racetrack, giving him a good hard run. As Beaver Dragon in the 75, the 00 Roger LaPerle begin to fight their way out of the rear after pit stop.
You never forget about Beaver Dragon, Dave, especially at this track. He has won at this place 4 times. He's got a car he knows can run. Maybe the engine is a question. We talked to him earlier. He said, this isn't our #1 bullet. We're going to try and keep up here.
This is their second best power plant at best. Their best motor is at the rebuilding shop being overhauled, but so far the Beaver having a pretty good run as Brad Layton, car number 1X, showing some smoke as the leaders work past in turn 1 and 2.
Junior Hanley in the 72 continues to lead. You see Brad Layton puffing his way with some smoke going on to pit lane. Roger LaPerle 00 and Jean-Paul Cabana just silently going about things, 38 years experience. He's sort of silently weaving his way around this pack, gaining ground, getting closer to the front all the time.
A vintage Jean-Paul Cabana performance. On Cabana's good nights, you never notice it until about 3 laps from the finish, when all of a sudden he's there and he's stealing the lead away from somebody. Keep the number 5 in the notebook for later on today. 00 LaPerle trying to hold off the veteran. Jean-Paul Cabana having one of the better runs we've seen him have here at Sanair.
You notice the empty grandstands as we're going. I think we should explain that, Dave. This track was originally built for the Indy cars. Now what they've done is they just simply, the GM National Stock Car Series, the headline act here now, they simply just closed down one half of the grandstand section, and that's what you see. Packed on one side, it's just shut down on the other.
This place holds well over 20,000 fans when they open up both sides, so in order not to have to police both ends of the grandstand, they shut one down. Randy McDonald really making hay through the pack, kind of nudges the 33 of Matt Posowski out of the way, moves underneath the 92 of Dave Whitlock. Randy McDonald is on his way to the front of the pack.
Leo Poirier there in the 12 and the 92. David Whitlock playing a nice conservative race here too. He hasn't been the kind of rookie sensation we thought when he came from the CASCAR ranks, but he's really playing it smart here this afternoon.
Dave Whitlock, the Petrolia Ontario driver. We've got a yellow on the Speedway. Field backing down through turn 1. And there's the culprit, the 25 Robbie Thompson, having some problems. As you recall, involved in that major pileup early on. Looks like he may be leaking some oil on the Speedway. So the field will back it down, and perhaps we'll look for another round of pit stops.
We could. Now the yellow comes out to slow things down. Weather is holding off. The drizzle that we anticipated at the beginning of the race had a little bit of it. Has not become a factor, but now Robbie Thompson here in the 25 is going to bring this badly wounded machine around the pit road.
Looks like Ralph Nason in car number 10 is going to come in. Had a very brief run at the front when he tried to hold off Junior Hanley on used tires. Nason brings it in. Roger LaPerle back in. So once again, the familiar names are at the front. Hanley in the 72, 13 Rolly McDonald, and now Harmon Beaver Dragon, 3rd in the 75.
Jim Salad Company entry. Ralph Nason, Racing Nason from Unity, Maine. Oh, they're going to pull the pins here. Look in the engine room. That doesn't look good.
Not a good sign when the hood goes up at this juncture of the race. And once again, you can see pit road, a busy place, and back in is Randy McDonald.
Randy McDonald, the GM Parts Pro Shop Chevy Lumina, didn't have the greatest of seasons last season. Boy, he has caught fire in the second half with a win at Halifax and the second place at Antigonish, one of the up-and-coming stars in the American Canadian Tour. The dominant story in ACT last year, and so far this season, has been Campbellville, Ontario's Junior Hanley. But in actual fact, this is not a full-blown runaway. Well, Junior's the road runner. More often than not, Oshawa's Randy McDonald is the coyote. But unlike the cartoon, every once in a while, the coyote beats the road runner to victory lane. Last season, Randy was runner-up 3 times, twice to Junior Hanley. This season, Randy's won twice at Cayuga, and Halifax, Junior was second behind Randy at Scotia Speed World. And the Roadrunner Coyote scenario continued at Antigonish, with Junior winning, McDonald second on his 30th birthday.
It seems that way, but I mean, the competition is really tight. and you can't really let up because somebody else is there ready to take over, you know, whether it's Crouch or LePage or whoever. But it's been like Junior and I battling a lot, especially, you know, some of the faster tracks and everything, and it's sort of neat. It's like you'd rather just have one guy you have to race against than all 30.
It would be very foolish to think that Randy could run the American-Canadian Tour all by himself. He has to have help from his sponsor, his crew, and his wife, Gina.
Gina gives Randy an extra pair of eyes on the track. She's in constant contact with him during the race on the radio.
Green, 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 go, 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 clear.
Randy's sort of an island, a man on an island out there all by himself, and so we're his link, and I just tell him when the yellows come out, when the green comes out, and when somebody's pressuring him on the rear end. It's just an extra set of eyes.
There's a lot of stuff going out on the racetrack that you can't really see, so Gina's biggest role really is just to watch behind me, so you can focus on what's going on in front. Let me know if there's somebody like really hard on the back end wanting to get by your last couple laps, you want to protect your position, stuff like that. Also, yellows are really important, especially when you're running on little wee race tracks. You can be in the accident really quick, so she helps a lot that way, lets me relax and just do my job.
Randy has his causes away from the track as well. He's trying to help youngsters stay in school, and he should know something about education. He has a Bachelor of Science honors degree from the University of Waterloo.
So whether it's chasing a checkered flag, chasing Junior Hanley, or helping a youngster chase a career, Randy McDonald is one of racing's colorful people. Brought to you by Kodak. Why don't we plug in the answer to our performance racing news trivia question? Sanair has played host to all kinds of things, stock cars obviously. Who won the first stock car event here? Yeah, Beaver Dragon won the inaugural stock car race, the Sanair 300. That was back in '83, Dave.
Beaver Dragon won the lid lifter, and he's won 3 times since, but not recently, as the man on top right now, Junior Hanley, has dominated. Rolly McDonald, Dragon, Cabana, and rookie Kip Stockwell. A strong run for the Vermonter in car number 16.
Been a long time since we've seen the Randolph, Vermont rookie up that high in the top 5, but you're right. Off the top of the show, Dave, you mentioned, you're never going to ignore the veterans here at Sanair, and look where they are. Junior Hanley on top and Beaver Dragon down in that second row.
Well, no youngsters in this lead group right now. Yeah. Hanley and Rolly McDonald, Beaver Dragon, and Jean-Paul Cabana. That's about 1.5 years of experience on the front 2 rows. Green flag is out. They're away once again, and again, it's Junior Hanley. Horsepower to spare into turn 1 with the lead.
Away he goes, but before he pulled away, give a little love tap there to Rolly McDonald as they took off. But now Junior just puts the hammer down, maybe halfway, you think, and away he goes.
I don't think Junior Hanley's stroking it too badly. Rolly McDonald and Harmon Beaver Dragon not far behind him. Not far behind the Beaver is Jean-Paul Cabana. We're going to have ourselves a dogfight here, I believe. Junior Hanley, when his car is perfect, comes off turn 3 and into turn 1, right on the bottom, on the white line. If you look, he's about a half a car length higher than Rolly McDonald right now. Junior does not have a perfect race car.
And this goes back to what you and I talked about, Dave, at the start of the show. This place has long straightaways, but these turns are as tight as any short track, so you've really got to know how to run that. And is there a better guy than Junior Hanley to show you how to perform down the straightaways and then get sharp in corners?
The combination of high speed and hairpin corners make it a very, very difficult track on tires and on brakes. Rolly McDonald taking a look to the inside, but somebody in the road right now, the 81 of Michel Desormeaux.
Zormo getting out of the way and letting those guys get by. Beaver Dragon, with that engine that we talked about, is hanging in tough here. Jean-Paul Cabana, you mentioned it too. Nice little quiet performance out here, never too far from the front.
Junior Hanley continues to lead, but as we mentioned, he may not have a perfect race car. John is down in the pits with a fella that ought to know, his crew chief, Bobby Coyne.
Well, nobody's got more experience about running lead laps than Junior Hanley. We're with co-crew chief Bob Coyne. Bob, it looks like Rolly McDonald's got the faster car out there. Can Junior hold him off?
Yeah, I believe he can. You know, they've known each other a long time. I think they know how each other run. Junior's been trying to save the car a long time now, so I think
if the opportunity comes, will you bring Junior in for another set of tires?
I don't think so. It's getting pretty late. It's hard to say, though. Depends what everyone else does, you know. Randy McDonald, I don't think he's a threat no more. He's been going backwards. That's who we were worried about, but it's hard to say.
Well, the battle's going to shape up, and it's going to just about crunch down to McDonald and Hanley. We'll see how this one unfolds.
One of the benefits of having a veteran driver like Junior, Bob sits back. He's in the coordination of the strategy with Junior, but you know Junior's calling the shots here.
Junior calls the shots, no question about that. Most of these drivers call their own shots.
That's true.
Bottom line, even when you get up into the upper echelons of Winston Cup racing, ultimately the driver knows best how his car feels. And look, that's Rollie McDonald.
Yes, it is.
McDonald in the 13 has just spun all by himself through the trioval.
He didn't touch anybody, Dave.
My goodness, Junior Hanley, who a moment ago looked like he was in a cat and dog fight for the win, now is way out in front. McDonald is rolling again. No yellow flag. The field stays green as McDonald is back underway.
Man, oh man, it just broke away from him. Nobody near him. He just spun all the way around. He didn't wait for the yellow, Dave. He just got it going, put it down in bottom gear, and took off. But my, he was doing so well, and to have that happen, what a heartbreak.
Well, the door is now wide open for Junior Hanley. Moments ago, he was literally under siege. Now, the only man really able to make a run at him at the present is Harmon Beaver Dragon. Hanley out of turn number 3, across the line, puts another lap in the book, and you've got to believe, Eric, he's breathing a whole lot easier right now.
Well, the car just behaves really very, very well, even in traffic, but to run out here in the nice, clean air, this is exactly what the Junior Hanley fans like to see. Junior out front, nobody really in front of him, nobody behind him. The car just handles so very, very well. Beaver Dragon, mentioning that motor before, not his #1 engine, but he's really, really trying to pedal hard here, trying to keep up with Junior.
Well, I've got a feeling that Beaver Dragon is a little bit more enamored of his backup motor now than he was this morning. He was not very optimistic about his chances. I'll tell you what, that engine's got to have something going for it. It's kept him among the front runners all day long.
Junior Hanley just going through the laps here. He knows the pressure is off with Rollie McDonald looping back. But look at this here. Beaver Dragon not that far behind.
Dragon is not out of the hunt, and look who's come to dinner.
Wow.
Rollie McDonald is on the comeback trail. He is just 5 car lengths behind Beaver Dragon. Eric, at the time, I thought McDonald had made a mistake by not sitting and bringing out a yellow, but now, who can argue? He's going to the outside of Beaver Dragon. McDonald is really going to make a run at this thing. He goes to the high side of Dragon through the trioval. That's a tough place to make the pass. Not for Rollie McDonald. He's got second now in the 13.
An absolutely splendid comeback for Rollie McDonald with a complete 360 spin, but he makes it back, gets by Beaver for second, and he's re-challenging Junior Hanley.
Hanley's lead is melting away. 1 car length, 2 car lengths, 3 car lengths at a time as they head for the trioval. Rollie McDonald is there.
Here he comes.
13 is coming on strong. He goes to the outside again through the trioval. Now looks to dive it low into turn number 3. Hanley now in a fight for his life. McDonald is there in turn 3.
Looks like McDonald is going to pick up what's wrong with Junior's car here? Rollie McDonald gets down underneath and takes over the lead from Junior Hanley. A bit of a hesitation there with the wheel, perhaps trying to get the fuel down the hole.
He can't be out of fuel. He's
pitted
with less than 100 laps to go. Something, though, is wrong. McDonald is away with the lead. Here comes Beaver Dragon. Hanley is shutting down in the water. Dragon has second. Hanley is coming out to pit road. Absolutely unbelievable.
Wow.
With less than 5 remaining, Junior Hanley is coming into the pits. The 72, it does not appear, is running as they come down to the pits. Let's go down on pit road. John Massingbird is there.
Uncharacteristic for Junior Hanley. Skids to a stop as the Q crew goes over the wall to give him some gasoline. Everybody's over the wall to give him a shove and get him going again. They've got to fill those fuel lines before that car is going to fire.
Absolutely unbelievable. I cannot believe that they ran out of gas. They should have had more than enough to go the rest of the way. And look at this. They are dangerously close to pushing that car over the line. If that car passes the line, they're going to be done. That's going to be at least a 1-lap penalty, as they have very nearly pushed Hanley out onto the racetrack.
Oh, this is really, really dangerous. I know exactly what they're trying to do, but you're right. That's a mind blower that this car could run out of fuel.
There's no way it should have happened. He should have had more than enough fuel in the tank to go the distance. But now, on to the matters at hand. Rollie McDonald with one of the most miraculous comebacks we've ever seen on the American-Canadian Tour, now has the lead, 6 car lengths in hand over Beaver Dragon.
For those who wallow in stats, has it ever happened before as Junior Hanley finally gets refired? Has anybody done a 360 on a track like this and come back and won an event?
Not to my memory, but I'll tell you what, one thing that has happened before, running out of gas has given away the win. It happened to Rollie McDonald 2 years ago. He lost one like this, and now he's just a couple of laps away from winning one.
Well, he knows Junior ran out of gas. I'm wondering if he's thinking back to that race that he lost when he ran out of gas here, but so far he's okay. In turn number 3, coming down to the stripe,
white flag is out one more time around, and Jean-Paul Cabana, like you talked about, nice and quiet, he's there at the end.
And I can virtually guarantee that there will be no more cars running out of fuel among the lead pack. Final time heading for the tri-oval, a comeback of miraculous proportions for Rollie McDonald, the Maritime Tire King Freight Line Chevrolet, heading for turn number 3. McDonald for his first victory of the 1992 season. Checkered flag is coming out, and can you believe it? Rollie McDonald has won it.
Incredible comeback from McDonald to win this. Beaver Dragon second, Jean-Paul Cabana third, Randy McDonald fourth, and a great run for David Whitlock in fifth place. Down to the pits, here's John.
Duff McDonald, congratulations. A great run for you and the crew and Dad today.
He drove the wheels off it that last, when he spun over here, he drove the wheels off it from then out, and he got it all.
Well, I know you're going to go want to catch him in Victory Circle. Go to it.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Duff McDonald, he crews for his dad. They're all going to Victory Circle. We'll see you there.
Well, it has been a very emotional afternoon here for the Rollie McDonald crew, and what a comeback, Dean.
Talk about a roller coaster ride. They had their ups and downs today. It looked with about 15, 20 laps to go like Rollie might win the thing. Then it looked like he might not even finish.
Rollie, Beaver Dragon, Jean-Paul Cabana, Randy McDonald, and David Whitlock 1 through 5. Great run for the former CASCAR champion. Roger LaPearl, Ralph Nason, Matt Bazowski, Junior Hanley, and Kip Stockwell in the 10th place spot.
What a heartbreaker of a day for Junior Hanley as he ends up in the number 9 position. That is not at all what he had in mind.
Back to talk with the winner, Rollie McDonald on Raceline after this.
Well, an absolutely brilliant run as he's getting undone here by his son Duff, pulling out the earplugs for the radio system. An absolutely brilliant run here for Pictou, Nova Scotia native Rollie McDonald. Rollie, congratulations on a wonderful afternoon.
It was a tough one. I had to come on the back a couple of times even after the spin, but the tire stayed under me and the car stayed under me. And
it clearly was a tough afternoon, but you were the fastest car on the track all afternoon.
I thought we blew it when we lost it over in the tri-oval, but I just kept coming back, and it stayed with me.
Now, you rode with Junior for a number of laps, just dogging him, letting him come along and see what would happen with him, and he ran out of gas with just a few laps to go, but I don't think that would have made a difference. You were right there all the way.
No, I wanted to take him clean. I didn't want to no friction between us because him and I are good friends, and you know, I wanted to do it clean. I was waiting for the right time, and I think the way his car was going away, I think mine was staying a little better, and we would have got him before the end.
Well, congratulations. Rollie McDonald, the winner of the GM Parts 200 at Sanair Super Speedway.
So, going into event number 11, the GM National Stock Car Series. Look at this, the lead for Junior Hanley over Randy McDonald, down to 30 points, Dave.
Well, Hanley made a big mistake here today, and McDonald took advantage of it.
Well, the whole crew's here as the Bud hat goes in, a little drink, he climbs on out. Harmon, Beaver Dragon, congratulations on a great run. Boy, you were just right in the dirt, weren't you?
I've been playing in the dirt all afternoon.
Harmon, Beaver, great run this afternoon.
Yeah, the car went good. We had our doubts when we came here, you know. We lost our big engine last week, and this engine here is only a backup engine, and we had our doubts on how good it was going to do here at Sanair on the big track. But the crew, of course, is what helped us along. They got the car handling good, and I didn't need all that motor, so I gotta give them the credit. It ain't only me driving the car. They did the job.
Well, as Beaver Dragon acknowledges the crew, he's the second place man today in the GM Parts 200.
Let us now select a Revell Model Performance driver of the race, Rollie McDonald. What a story, what a comeback.
No question in my mind, any driver that can do this and come back to win at Sanair gets my vote every time.
Well, it's tough to get in here. The area with J.P. Cabana, he's an institution in the American-Canadian Tour. Over 500 wins. J.P., congratulations on a third-place finish.
Thank you very much.
The car was good all day today?
Yeah, the car went very well. You know, that's important for myself. But, you know, in the end of the race, I know that's not too much problem, just do a 0-0. He gave me a little hard time, but I run a little faster than Beaver, but I can't take the chance, you know. I don't change my tire. I make 200 laps with the same tires. That's the reason, you know, if he changed tire, you have a little more confiance in the car during the curve. But in the stretch, I was a little faster than himself.
Well, he only runs a limited schedule with ACT this year, but I'll tell you what, he hasn't lost the touch at all. Quebec's J.P. Cabana.
Dave, another unbelievable finish here with ACT. It looked like Junior had this one in the bag for his 9th victory on the tour, but the gas gauge just read the wrong letter.
Well, with 30 laps to go, it looked like Rollie McDonald was dead and buried in this one. But a fast race car and a little bit of luck can do wonders for you.
Another one of those veterans we talked about off the top, Beaver Dragon, comes through with a second-place finish.
Dragon for second and Jean-Paul Cabana for third. Another day for the veterans here at Sanair.
A fabulous GM Parts 200, and that'll wrap it up here from Sanair Super Speedway. On behalf of John Massingbird and Dave Moody, I'm Eric Thomas saying so long from Raceline.
Racing radio is provided by New Venture Communications, London, Ontario. In-car and wall cameras supplied by Sony Canada, makers of the Sony Handycam. Raceline has been brought to you by GM Parts, the expert choice. Kodak Gold Plus Film. You can't keep the moment without Kodak. Castrol XLR, the oil engineered for today's cars. Revell, the world's model maker. And by Budweiser Racing. It's a Bud race.